It's the most entertaining sport in the world. I'm not surprised. Let's get right into it. I don't see Stipe walking him down.
I don't see him walking him down, but I see him trying to get on the inside because despite Ngannou's reach, that reach isn't going to really count.
Who has a better clinch game at the heavyweight division than Allistar Overeem?
Stipe.
You think Stipe has a better clinch?
Better clinch game?
Yeah.
Who has a better clinch game? In the heavyweight division?
Nobody.
Kane, if he was
Nope.
back from the...
Verdum actually has some pretty good Thai boxing for Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, world-class virtuoso.
That was one of the first that came
What I'm saying is, like, for real Thai boxing, no one's got a better plum than Allistar Overeem.
Oh, than Overeem? No,
yeah.
He finished Mark Hunt with it.
Right, and Overeem was not able to get the clinch on Ngannou.
He was desperately trying to clinch.
That's what I'm saying. So I love the idea that Brendan Schaub put in that he's going to try to shoot from the outside, bury a head in his chest, and just not really give a lot of space for anybody to not give a lot of space for Ngannou to land anything. This is one of those fights where I've noticed a trend in the UFC recently that the caliber of talent at the top is starting to level off. We're seeing more world-class fighters. I would not be surprised to see Stipe add maybe a couple of low kicks to his arsenal. I would like to see Stipe work to the body, but I tell you what, and Stipe's got a chin. Stipe took one on the button from Overeem, who could crack with the as chinny as Overeem is. Overeem has power in both hands.
Probably
and both legs.
Probably the best striker, best kickboxer in MMA.
In MMA, it's either Allistar Overeem, Edson Barboza, or Joanna Jędrzejczyk. Those are the three people who are probably the three best, legitimate Thai boxers. And then you got the likes of a Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, a Conor McGregor. You got the boxing of a JDS and the power of an Anthony Rumble Johnson should he decide to come back.
Now, the boxing of JDS, but from what I understand, like to let you guys know too, we're going to add some stuff afterward, but apparently Stipe actually took a year. Apparently it was a year and a half, or was it?
Yeah, he went to fought in the Golden Gloves and he just worked on his hands.
So you have a high-level boxer, heavyweight boxer, 4-ounce gloves, and look at it. He's just knocking out everybody. So
if Stipe can incorporate effective, one of the things I worked on with Jerry too is, and I hate to quote Edmund Traverdi his head movement. If you could work on going underneath, keeping your head off the center line, 1-2, underneath off the center line, step out, pivot. Try to, as soon as you let one go, don't be where you were. I think that's going to be part of the blueprint, absolutely necessary to even be competitive with Francis Ngannou.
And that's something you want to do is you don't want to stay there and admire your work. And I could hear Stipe's corner yelling at him during the JDS fight, move, move, move. You need to get busy. You need to get active. Don't stand there.
Right, and I would. The problem is that Ngannou has power in both hands. So if Stipe is to move to his right, he could run into one of those shovel hooks or those upper hooks that I just talked about. Not really an uppercut, I don't know. That's what he knocked out Overeem with. If Stipe throws 1-2, jab to the right side, Ngannou can end it with that one. And if Stipe tries to throw jab hook and step out to the other side, Ngannou can throw it straight down the middle. He's got knockout power in both hands effectively.
Ngannou's precision is on point too.
Ngannou, the one that he landed on Overeem looked wild, but it was just on the button, and Overeem was moving. Overeem had some really quirky movement in that fight.
Whose boxing is better, Ngannou or Stipe? Ngannou's been practicing, and Ngannou's
has nothing to do with practicing. Just the natural God-given ability that Francis Ngannou has. Stipe does not.
Okay, well, Ngannou,
the ability to strike from range, the ability to generate power, the ability to generate power off balance and cover distance. If you're talking about just traditional 1-2, slip, roll, step out, counter, Stipe's slightly more technical boxer. He has to be. He's not as impressive as a physical specimen as is Francis Ngannou. But at the same time, too, man, Mike Tyson fought peekaboo style, went on the inside, and didn't really do much. He could roll underneath with the best of them, man. He was a fun guy to watch back in the 90s.
I saw the little peekaboo style that you're talking about. Okay, can I tell you what I think?
You can tell me what you think.
Okay, so this is what I think. So here's the deal with Francis Ngannou, guys. So he has 12 fights. He's lost one of them by decision. Overall, 12 fights. He lost one. It was by decision.
It was his second fight in professional MMA from a guy that was homeless, probably training less than a year.
Less than a year.
Yeah, go back to your own experience. I mean, if I were to roll or box with, Ray of 12 years ago,
completely different.
I was stronger, I was faster, but no, I would make a mockery of that guy.
Ngannou has finished all of them. He's finished all of them, 7 of them by KO or TKO, and 2 of them by submission.
And none of them have even entered the third round.
He's on a 10-fight win streak, all finishes, 3 fights he won by submission, 7 by KO, TKO. His only loss ever was to a close decision. Stipe is on a 5-fight win streak, all by KO or TKO. Stipe's only been TKO'd one time, so he's only been finished once. That was by Stefan Struve. That was 5 years ago.
Again, early on in someone's fighting career, like at this level of MMA, every 6 months guys are improving. Look at Max Holloway.
God,
like that's
he's on a tear,
right?
And he's still not peaking.
If you're looking at a guy like George St. Pierre, right, you can go back 8 years ago and compare that George to today because he hit that level of championship caliber fighter. These guys, because they're so physical, because they're so gifted, they were rushed to the forefront of competition very early on, based on athletic ability, strength, and speed alone.
Yeah, it's not uncommon to get rushed into MMA.
Especially in the heavyweight division, you win 2 fights and you're in a contender match.
Yeah, there's really no there's not a lot of competition, right. And that's already on the small pool of fighters there to pick from. Like you were saying, man, like there's really not much going to be left of the heavyweight division so far, sort of.
Excuse me, I'm yawning. I'm tired. I just had coffee. Good, that should have fixed me.
It should have.
So you're asking me for a prediction now, right? Like I'm going to say how I see this fight going down. As much as I would love to see Stipe, I think Stipe is going to show a couple of flashes of brilliance. All it's going to take is one to land from Francis Ngannou. I haven't seen anything to say that Francis Ngannou is easy to be taken down. But again, the body of work for me to make a smart judgment call is just not there. And the way that Francis Ngannou can end a fight, it doesn't look as if Stipe has that ability. So I'm looking for Francis Ngannou to continue what he's doing, even though, and I like both of these guys, but
I love Stipe. But
I'm a blue collar Irish guy from Brooklyn. Like I can't root against a firefighter. I want Stipe to win this fight.
Stipe can win this fight.
My heart's telling me that Stipe is going to win this fight, but my brain is just telling me that the most likely scenario is that Francis Ngannou is going to come in there fearless, reckless, and he's going to end the fight via strikes.
He's going to do what he does best. Stipe is one of the...
Interesting thing before I even let you go is, should Stipe be able to stay away, we've never seen Francis Ngannou go into deep water. This is a 5-round fight.
That's a good point. We need to bring that up.
I have no... word on the street is that Francis Ngannou lives in the UFC training facility, so I have no reason to believe he doesn't have good cardio, but I've never seen him fight longer than a round and a half.
Except for that Cisse fight. He went...
That was a 2-round fight.
Was it 2 rounds?
2 rounds.
And 100%. Okay, yep. Then there you go. We have never seen Ngannou
go
5-minute rounds.
That was 2 5-minute rounds.
Okay, so Ngannou's never gone 5-minute rounds. Now
he's never gone over 2 rounds.
Has Stipe? Stipe's in a...
Stipe beat JD. He lost to JDS by decision. But he beat Roy Nelson by decision. Right?
Right. Okay, let's take a look. Let's take a look. Take a look here, Fight Fans. You okay?
My middle name is Wikipedia.
Ray, Wikipedia. We're going to pull up Stipe. Put up the old Stipe Miocic.
Somebody called him Stipe the other day.
Do you guys see Stipe? I've been following Stipe. I'm a huge fan of his. Shut up.
Go down to that record.
Guys, he's gone to... He went 5 rounds with Mark Hunt.
Yeah,
no, it was in the 5th round
rounds.
he finished. Put up the old Stipe Miocic.
Somebody called him Stipe the other day.
Do you guys see Stipe? I've been following Stipe. I'm a huge fan of his. Shut up.
Go down to that record.
Guys, he's gone to... He went 5 rounds with Mark Hunt.
Yeah,
no, it was in the 5th round he finished him. So he went to...
He lost a 5-round fight to JDS, which was a super close fight. Fight of the night. 25 minutes. So we've seen JDS go 25 minutes, and we've seen him go 15 minutes. We have never seen in the UFC Francis Ngannou go more than about 7.5 or 8 minutes.
That's a yet.
So that's what I'm saying. That's a yet. What I'm saying, if Stipe can box effectively from range, move, maybe score a takedown or 2, eat up some of the clock, land a couple of low kicks, maybe try to negate some of the speed and athleticism of Francis Ngannou, I would love to say that Stipe has all the tools necessary to win this fight. He most certainly can. Again, I'm just going with my brain on this one. I think the most likely scenario is that a significantly more athletic, aggressive, hungry, powerful Francis Ngannou.
So he went to...
He lost a 5-round fight to JDS, which was a super close fight. Fight of the night. 25 minutes. So we've seen JDS go 25 minutes, and we've seen him go 15 minutes. We have never seen in the UFC Francis Ngannou go more than about 7.5 or 8 minutes.
That's a yet.
So that's what I'm saying. That's a yet. What I'm saying, if Stipe can box effectively from range, move, maybe score a takedown or 2, eat up some of the clock, land a couple of low kicks, maybe try to negate some of the speed and athleticism of Francis Ngannou, I would love to say that Stipe has all the tools necessary to win this fight. He most certainly can. Again, I'm just going with my brain on this one. I think the most likely scenario is that a significantly more athletic, aggressive, hungry, powerful Francis Ngannou is going to be able to put Stipe on his back.